Welcome. In this session, we are going to discuss about a very important topic, that is scales of management. This particular topic is related to your course, Marketing Management of the MBA program. When you talk about scales of measurement, here first we need to understand about the term measurement. Measurement is actually a foundation stone for any kind of a scientific research. Whenever you want to undertake a research, you employ a number of research tools to get the data about the quality, the attributes, the characteristics of the sample group. And this is measured in the terms of numbers. So therefore, measurement is nothing but it is a process of assigning number to the events, objects or attributes according to the specific rules. Let me take one example here. For example, if you want to find out the personality type of the employees in a particular firm, and suppose you choose to employ the tool of Eysenck's personality questionnaire, which basically measures the individuals on the extroversion and the introversion scale. Now, the result of this particular tool will help you to classify the individuals as introvert or extrovert. And as a researcher, what you do, that you basically quantify the responses given by the respondents in the categories of extroversion and introversion. So you use the specific rules which are to be followed to apply this particular personality questionnaire. Also, another point which we need to understand is that during this process of measurement, what happens is that basically we do nothing but quantifying the characteristics and makes the comparisons based on the numerical data. Now, when you talk about measurement, there is few other characteristics which can be added to it. That is, measurement explains the nature of the data collected. That is, what is a kind of data, whether it is a quantitative data, whether it is a data about the perception, whether it is a data about their social structure. So it helps us to understand the nature of the data. And also, basically in measurement, what happens is it measures the amount which is present in a particular sample group. So it can be both objective as well as subjective in nature. When I say objective in nature, it basically relates to characteristics such as height, weight and age, which cannot be altered by the perception of the individual. But we do measure the subjective behavior of the individual. For example, the opinion or perception or satisfaction. For example, if you want to find out the opinion of of a sample group regarding a particular product which they are using, then this opinion can be their very personal opinion. So therefore, it is more subjective in nature, and this subjectivity is also can be measured through the tools of measurements. But the important point here to remember is that whether we are measuring any objective criteria or a subjective criteria, we need to understand that we have to choose a tool which is properly reliable and valid. That is, there is a proper standardization process which has been followed. Now, when we talk about measurement in statistics, then there are 4 levels of measurements, and first time this level of measurement was given by Stanley Smith Stevens in 1946, and he basically classified the levels of measurement into 4 levels, and these are also known as levels and sometimes as scales. So they can be used interchangeably, and these 4 scales, that is nominal, ordinal, interval and ratio scales, they are arranged in an order of ascending order, meaning the nominal scale is the lowest kind of a scale and the ratio scale is the highest kind of a scale. We will discuss how nominal scales differs from the other scales in our course of discussion. Here, another point is, before discussing about the levels of measurement, I would like to highlight about what can we measure. We basically can measure the physical characteristics, that is height, weight, or the age of the individual, the psychological characteristics, that is the attitude, confidence, interest of the individuals, and also about the social characteristics, that is how friendly the individual is, what is the kind of leadership ability person has, uh, how amiable the person is when he works in teams. So these are the things which we can measure. So if you can observe, right, then the measurement can be done of both the subject, on the subjective criteria as well as on the objective criteria. Let us now first talk about nominal scale. As the name suggests, it is just it is the first level of the scale. Here what happens, that a researcher basically categorizes the data into a distinct group or categories. For example, if you have to categorize the entire number of students in your classroom, then you may categorize them as male or female. So you are creating a distinct group. But while you are making distinctive groups, you are not ranking them in any order. You are just simply numbering them. You are just simply labeling them. If you had 50 students in the class, you may just group them as, say, 30 males or 20 females. So in the nominal scale, because in the nominal scale, here only we are labeling the characteristics of the individuals. So there is no chance of ranking them. So there is only a number assignment is given for the identification or to label the particular characteristics of the group. If when you talk about nominal scale, by this also, when you categorize the entire group into 2 categories or 3 categories, these groups are mutually exclusive in nature. That is, there is no overlap. When we say there is no overlap, by that I mean, if you take the previous example where you categorize the group into male and female, you cannot put a male member in a female group. So therefore, these categories are mutually exclusive in nature. Another thing is that there is no order which is implied in the nominal scale. It is just a simple labeling. So whenever you are categorizing the data on the basis of gender, that is male, female, on the marital status, or maybe on the types of the fruits, then it is merely a categorization. Therefore, this scale, that is nominal scale, is known as the lowest level of the scale. The next level of scale is the ordinal scale. As we just discussed, in the nominal scale, we are only categorizing the data. There is no order which is put into it. There is no ranking which we are giving here. But in the ordinal scale, it is one level above than the nominal scale. Apart from categorizing the data, we are also ordering the data into various categories. That is, we are indicating them in a rank order. For example, in the same class, if you have to arrange the number of girls according to the height, now what will you do? You will put the shortest girl in the front, and you will go on further till you achieve your target. So what we are doing, we are just not categorizing the group as male and female, but we are ordering the girls on the basis of their height. So there is a ranking order. So the nominal scale, here we rank, but while ranking, the intervals between the ranks are not necessarily equal. For example, the girl at the number 1 position may be of say 3 meters height, and the girl at the number 2 position may be at say 3.2 meters of height, and the girl at the number 3rd position may be at 3.6 meters of height. So there is no equality between the two intervals, that is first from 3 to 3.2 and from 3.2 to 3.5. So there is no equivalency in ordering the rank. Only there is a order which we are maintaining. So this is called as ordinal scale. So if based on the nature of the ordinal scale, the following are the characteristics which you can understand. As I have already discussed, that here categories are ranked or order from least to most, and the exact difference between the category is also not defined. For example, the socio-economic status of the individual. You may categorize them as low, medium or high, maybe in the satisfactory rating, very satisfied, neutral, satisfied. So these are all class rankings where there is no equivalency in the intervals. Now on the next level, that is called as interval scales. By now you must have realized, right from when we have moved from the nominal to the ordinal, the characteristics are advancing. Now in the interval scales also the characteristics advances in terms of, like in nominal scales we were simply categorizing on and ranking, but there was no equivalency which was sought. But in the interval scales, this equivalency between the two intervals is sought. So while ordering the categories, there is a equal intervals between the values, so that value is equally divided. And also there is one more important thing is, while this there is one more important thing which is there is, while we are ordering them into the equal intervals, there is an absence of absolute zero. That means we cannot say that the zero quality is present in the individuals, especially in the behavioral sciences or in the marketing or in the social sciences, in the management sciences, where whenever we are trying to study the behavior of the individual, the perception of the individual, or intelligentsia of the individual, we cannot say these traits are zero in the individual. So, and also therefore the true zero can never be achieved in the social sciences researches, the marketing researches also. So therefore, interval scales, there is no absolute true zero. Another characteristics of the interval scale is that in the interval scales, what happens, that the data, when it is equally divided, accordingly, even the kind of measurement tools or the statistical techniques which we will employ, they will differ according to the scales which we have adopted for developing that tool, for administering that tool. That also we are going to discuss the relationship between the type of the tool and the statistics which has to be employed for analyzing the data obtained from that particular scale. Let us talk about the ratio scale. The ratio scale is the strongest scale. It is the highest level of scale. As in the beginning we discussed, these scales are arranged in an order of ascending order. So therefore, from nominal to the ratio scale, it is the highest level of scale and the strongest scale of measurement. And why it is the strongest scale of measurement? Because there is a presence of absolute zero. So when the zero is present, that means you can quantify that a particular quality is absent in that particular characteristics. There is a true zero, so therefore it allows a meaningful comparison between the absolute magnitudes. But this usually happens in the researches which are done in the laboratories, that is in the discipline of science, because we can say that the pressure at this particular point is 0 or the temperature is 0. Like we had discussed in behavioral sciences, we cannot say that a particular trait is 0 in an individual. So therefore, this particular kind of scale is usually used in the sciences and less frequently in the behavioral sciences. As I discussed, all these scales are arranged in the order from low to the higher measurement. So therefore, while adopting the research tool or before you develop any kind of a research tool, you have to first ascertain which kind of a scale of measurement would you adopt. Because on the basis of the scale of measurement which you adopt, it will have a direct implication on the statistical techniques which you are going to adopt in order to analyze the data. Now, there's a main question which arises in our mind, that why is the right scale of measurement important? Why, as a researcher, we need to choose amongst these different scales of measurement in a right way? Because if we measure or if we adopt the right scale of measurement, it will lead to the correct statistical analysis, and therefore what will happen, our research will become more generalizable, it will be more valid. So therefore, it is the choosing a particular type of a scale is linked also to the outcome of the result, that is the generalizability and the validity of the research. So it is very crucial that you adopt the scale of measurement very, very wisely. Now let me just put you forward with this comparison. If you look at these scales, like for example in the nominal scale, where only the comparison, the basic comparison was between the identity or label. So therefore the statistics which is usually used is either a percentage or a mode or a chi-square. Chi-square is a type of inferential statistics, but a non-parametric one where a binomial data is used. So therefore, in the nominal scale, what we are doing, we are basically creating the categories, either 2 or 3 categories, we are labeling them. So therefore, chi-square can be used for comparing the 3 groups together. Then in the ordinal scale, where we are just ordering or ranking the measurement, there the most appropriate statistics would be median or rank order correlation. That would be the most appropriate statistics which you can adopt. When you move forward to the interval scale, where the comparison of intervals were done, but there was no equivalency which was sought. Here the statistics which you can adopt can be mean, range or standard deviation. For if you want to find out the relationship between the two, then you can use the product moment correlation, t-test for comparing the two groups, and also the factor analysis. If you compare between the ordinal scale and the interval scale, in the ordinal scale for correlation we use the rank order, and in the interval scale we use the product moment correlation. So different kind of even correlation statistics are being adopted based on what we are measuring. And the last type of a scale, which is known as a ratio scale, where there is an absolute magnitude, there the geometric mean and the coefficient of variation is the most appropriate statistics which can be adopted. So you can say that the nature of the scale, the type of the scale and the data which is collected using that particular scale will help you choose the appropriate statistics in order to reach to the valid results. So I would like to conclude that as a researcher, if you want to have good valid results, if you want to have the research to be more generalizable, it is more appropriate that while choosing a particular tool or while developing a particular tool, you must also decide about the appropriate scales of measurement. Thank you.